those of you who don't know who the lovely lady sat next to me is, this is Brix Smith-Start, TV presenter extraordinaire, buyer, indie owner. I mean, the list of your talents are endless. And we're here today to just get a bit of a flavour of what, how Brix has gone about sort of pursuing her career, and also how she goes about doing her buy, what the kind of strategy for the store is and all that. And at the end, we're going to open it out to the floor, so if there's any questions, then just ask. Pop up your hand when it comes in. So, for those of you who don't necessarily know, in a previous life, before the very successful Start and Mr. Start and all of that, Brix was lead singer of The Fall.
I was actually the guitar player.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So in a band called The Fall, which global tours, maybe tell us a bit about what The Fall was all about.
Well, The Fall was a kind of alternative band from Manchester. They started in the late 70s and actually still carry on today, and I joined in the early 80s as a teenager. I was married to the lead singer, I play guitar, we wrote the songs together. It was John Peel's, one of his favorite bands ever. And it was a really important band and inspirational on a massive level. Like, if it weren't for The Fall, there would be no Nirvana, for instance. And pretty much every band that is anyone cool was our support band at one time. Yeah, so we did, global tours. I did 25 albums with them. So yeah, that was my life before, and that's actually what brought me to this country. And I loved it so much that I never left.
And so that's quite different. It's a creative industry, but it's quite different to fashion. So what was the segue from The Fall to the boutiques?
Well, it was difficult in The Fall because being married to Marky Smith and writing together, our marriage collapsed, like most musicians' marriage collapsed, in like a horrible cloud of like drug and alcohol abuse, not mine. And so yeah, and then basically I found myself at a loose end, and I had to reinvent myself and figure out what the hell I was going to do, because for my entire adult life, that's all I'd done. I mean, at that point, I didn't even know how to sign a check. I had gone from my parents' house to living with Mark, so it was a big thing. So, before The Fall, as a kid growing up in LA, I'd always done acting from a really young age. Commercials, all sorts of things, advertising. And I decided to go back to LA after The Fall and study acting. So I went back, studied it, I got parts like in soap operas and things, and then I got asked to rejoin The Fall, but not being married. So I came back here. And I was here, I was flying back and forth between LA and London. And one time when I was here doing an album, I went out to dinner, and we were going by late at night Harvey Nichols, and it was open at night, and I was like, what's going on here? It must be like a fashion week party. I was like so excited. I thought, I'm just going to crash it. So I walked in, got in the lift, and 3 men were in the lift, and one of them was Philip Start, who's my now husband. And he said to me, are you going up? And I said, yes, I'm going up, but I don't have tickets to the party. I'm just crashing it. And he said, oh, it's not a party, it's a bar. Can we buy you a drink? And I said, sure. And I sat down, and that's how I met Philip. And he explained to me that he had started Woodhouse, which was really weird. Woodhouse, if you don't know, was a big chain of menswear stores all throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Weirdly, it's where I bought my ex-husband, Marky Smith, his first suit. So it was a strange, freaky connection. And so I met Philip, and we got talking, and he was so lovely, and basically we were really never apart. So eventually I left The Fall because it didn't feel right anymore. I was not happy doing it. I was really happy with Philip. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to have a home. I had never really been grounded because I'd always been traveling. And he sold Woodhouse. He actually sold it twice, but the first time he sold it to Philip Green, then he bought it back, then he sold it to someone else. Anyway, that's a long story, a business story, whatever. So we were living in Notting Hill, and we decided, his kids went to college, university, we decided to move to Shoreditch. And this was about 11 years ago. And Shoreditch was it was a really changing place. It was full of artists. It was really gritty. It was kind of a no man's land. It was pretty gross in some ways, but there was an energy there that I cannot tell you was so exciting. So we moved to Shoreditch, and one morning we woke up and we were invited to a dinner party, and I had nothing to take the hostess, And I turned to Philip and I said, honey, there's nowhere to shop. And he said, why don't we build something, a little boutique, fill it with things we love, and put it on a back street, and just open it as like a labor of love. And I thought, oh my God, yay, candy store. Because I'd always loved clothes, always loved fashion, sort of been known for my style, good or bad, whatever. But, since a small child, it was a real passion of mine. So we opened Start, and it was 2002 in October on Rivington Street in a tiny store. He, being like a retail guru guy, taught me pretty much everything, but gave me quite a free rein as well to be creative. So we had the men's on top and the women's downstairs. The women's was teeny tiny, like the size of a rich person's closet, but it was stocked with beautiful things that I had picked with love and from my heart. And I had to learn how to sell, what worked on a different body, what was on trend. I didn't really know these things, but I followed my gut instinct, and I was strangely guided. And we opened it with no fanfare or publicity. We just opened the doors, and if you build it, they will come, and they did.
Brilliant.
All right, was that a monologue or what?
No, it was great.
Yeah.
And then how did you get from a single store to the kind of mini empire that you've got in Shoreditch now?
What happened was the single store became, my passion is denim, if you don't know. And basically being 5'3" and curvy, I have never looked great in a pair of jeans. And all my life, I struggled to find jeans that look good. I go into a store, and the sales girl would sell me something. She'd go, these are really good. They're really hot. They look fantastic. I go, they're too tight. My ass is flat. I don't look like Kate Moss. And they're just like, well, but they look really good. And I was like, no, there's got to be something better. So when we opened the store, I was hugely influenced by Fred Siegel on Melrose in LA, where I came from, which is like the denim emporium. So when we opened Start, I made it my business to understand jeans and the way they fit, and to understand a woman's body and their needs, and to be able to make denim buying, like if you're going to go buy jeans, and actually a pleasurable experience instead of a suicide mission. Because I don't know about you, but like I would go in, try on jeans, and come out more depressed than when I got in. It's the same for bikinis too, I have to say. But so I thought I could fix it with denim to understand the distressing, the shapes, the amount of elastane, the coloring, the rinsing, everything from like the purest denim with, salvage to really, really modern fabrications like Gold Sign. So when we opened that, my mission was to be the best denim boutique ever, so that people could come to me, and within 3 jeans, I could fit them in their perfect jean, and they would walk out, have a great pair of jeans that would last them for 10 years and not date. So started like that. Started to get lots of press about it because people were really happy with my service. And upstairs, the men's were doing great, and it would just seem natural to branch out. So a shop came free across the street, a really big one, and Philip said, why don't we move the women's over there and just do like a whole sort of denim area, and then like have much more of a mix of multi-brands and go for bigger brands, and turn this into a multi-brand men's store. So that's what we did. And that was all good, and we started to get exciting brands, and I love to go around and just doing the buying and doing trade shows and things, and discover new young talent and find things that other people weren't picking up on, which was really important to have a point of difference. Every single thing in the store is something that I love. Not necessarily I would wear, but every single thing that we sell is something that I'm utterly passionate about in every way. Nothing comes in there that is not great, in my opinion. Otherwise, what's the point? I can't ask someone to spend their money on something that I don't love myself, because that's a lie. So, that's really important. So we had the 2 stores that were working really well, and then our dream store came up on the corner of Rivington Street and Charlotte Road. So we have one store, one across the street, and then another over there. This came up, but we didn't know what to do with it. And we thought, we really want this because it's got amazing frontage, it's got great energy. Should we do like streetwear or a less expensive, younger thing? But Philip was like, I want to do tailoring. That was his home because of Woodhouse. He knows everything about tailoring. So that was the birth of Mr. Start, which is our own brand tailoring, which we now sell in like Harvey Nichols, Harrods, Selfridges, Lane Crawford, blah, 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 blah. It's 2.5 years old and it's a massive success. That's where our real growth is because it's our own thing. We're very proud of it.
And so when you were venturing out from the first store, did you ever feel like it was nervous about going, like expanding or going bigger, or did you feel that you had enough good stuff to fill the stores with, and then enough kind of loyal customers to keep coming back?
Well, you're always nervous when you're making a change and you're taking a new venture, and it's right to be because you are taking a risk and you are gambling. We were in an area, Shoreditch, which is not, we're like the biggest sort of groups of stores there and probably the most important, but it's a really changing area, and you just never know if you're going to have enough customers to buy stuff, and but we just believed in ourselves. Of course you were nervous, but we believed in ourselves and we knew we could do it, and we felt very confident about it. We weren't like, digging a hole and like covering ourselves in dirt, but yeah.
Great. And is that something that you think is really important for the advice that you'd give to other aspiring kind of independents, is having that confidence and that belief in your own abilities to just kind of go the next step?
Yeah, my advice is if you have a real passion for something and you believe so strongly in it with your entire soul, you should absolutely go for it. If your gut instinct is telling you to hold back, be cautious, you should listen to that too. Just be aware of, pretty much we all have gut instincts, all of us, and you really have to follow it and listen to it.
And it seems like that's something that you apply to your buying strategy as well as like business kind of, you know what you like, you trust your taste. So how does that sort of manifest itself over the buying process? So
the buying process was something that I had to learn, and mistakes were made because you cannot go forward without learning from your mistakes. So I think of mistakes as a good thing, not a bad thing. Even though when you see things that aren't sold on a hanger, you just see like pound notes like swinging there. You're going, why did I get those fucking tie-dyed pants? But anyway, how we buy, because I now have a team that helps me. I cannot do it all by myself anymore. Some of it's by heart, but a lot of it's by science. So we have a merchandiser, and then I have Lizzie Walker, who's my head buyer over there, simple. And these girls keep me grounded, but also a lot of it is heart. I go around and I go, oh my God, I love it. If you really love it, then just buy it, But then there's all sorts of things about quantities and things like that, and ours is quite scientific. Like we know how many black things we need, what colors sold best, what shape is doing well, and so it's a little of everything. Yeah, and was that something that, as you were expanding, like you saying about building a team, and suddenly you couldn't do it all on your own? Like how difficult was that to sort of not give your baby away, but you're kind of letting someone else in on something that was very personal to you? It was hideously difficult for me to take my hands off everything and to slightly step back, because I felt that the shops were, certainly the women's wear was an expression of my taste and my personality and my vision, and I just didn't feel like anybody could do it as well as I did. And before Lizzie, I had 2 other assistant buyers, 3. Whoa! And it was so difficult for me in every way. But we've worked together for going on 7 years now, and we both work on the shop floor. We know our customer really well. Lizzie has slightly different taste than me, but sometimes she'll pull something to my attention and say, what about this? And I'll be like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I just think it's so great to work in a team and to have different feedback as well, and to be open to that, because people see things differently, and sometimes you just get tunnel vision, and it's really important to bring in other people that you trust, I think. And so with that, how what's the Brix Smith-Start big trends or big brands or key pieces for Spring 13, do you think? Okay, so So brands are really sort of subjective to your customer and who they are. I mean, I can tell you what's good for us, but it won't be the same because you're in different places, in different stores, and different aesthetics. In terms of trends for next season, I work a lot with my gut feeling. And I have this weird feeling, like all of a sudden I'll start feeling this and I'll think, oh my God, this seems like it could happen. A lot of camouflage, not necessarily done on traditional fabrics. I've actually seen now quite a lot of soft knitwear camouflage going on, softer colors. But I'm feeling camouflage. The other thing is I'm feeling, which nobody has spotted yet, and I could be wrong, but I'm going out on a limb here. Kind of like a luxe, chic, hippie look. So I'm talking Isabel Marant, really understated, cool tunic, not a lot of bling. Kind of like Isabel Marant Betty Basket trainers, which are a kind of a moccasin trainer. So like a moccasin, tunic, love beads, beachy wavy hair, minimal makeup. I'm also feeling a trend of like, for the women over 40, there's Scandinavian women are doing it so right, wearing like cool, kind of edgy, skinny leather trousers, but like great slumpy t-shirt over and kind of a great jacket on top, really minimal hair, minimal makeup. Like think of the girl that plays Saga in The Bridge, if any of you have seen that, or what was that other brilliant one? Sarah Lund in The Killing, like in that really cool Norwegian sweater. She was a little bit down, but Saga in The Killing's more cool, you know. So that Scandinavian women where they're a little bit edgy but still classic. So saying that Acne is a great brand, great, it's great for us. Helmut Lang, oh my God. I just need to tell you a story because Helmut Lang, when we opened the very first store, we had the original Helmut Lang when he still designed it. And it was like so genius. It was brilliant. Then it got bought by got bought by Prada, then it got bought by New Yorkers, and like we went to see it in New York and I was like, I don't want it anymore. It's not real. They're just like raiding the archives and it's a poor imitation. But I don't know, something happened where I saw it on a few people after maybe 5 years went by. And I was like, oh my God, this is really good. And we went to see it, and now it probably is it our best-selling brand? It's our best-selling brand. And guess who's wearing it now? Me! So Helmut Lang, you know, that's really good for us. Also, color is a big trend still for next spring. So there's lots of like, you know how we've had mustard this season, and we have like the Acne fuzzy sweater in tennis ball green, and Nike did all those Olympic shoes in tennis ball acid green, the Volt trainers, you know, that's really hot now. Next season, it's still a lot of acidic citrine in color, barely any black, which I'm quite happy about because I love color. I think it lifts your spirit. I think color is like fashion Prozac. Black is really appropriate for certain occasions and you really are taken seriously in black. But for me, it's like a downer.
And what about denim?
Denim. That's really important. So we've seen, I don't know about you, but denim sales have changed so much in the last 7 years. It used to be one of the most major parts of our business. Now it ticks over. People come to us for fittings and things, which is great, but it's not like you must have a certain jean. You're going to die without the jean, like it was in the 7 for All Mankind days, where they just changed the pocket every week and you'd slit your wrist if you didn't have it. So the thing about denim is they're having lots of new treatments and creativity put into the denim. So we've seen things like different textures, like denim embossed with Devore. Devore is also a big trend. It's carrying on from the Baroque now into next season. Devore is a softer way to approach that kind of luxe. I also have seen a lot of interesting denims with coatings on them, like distressed metallic rubberized coatings, really cool. I've seen lots of leather denim combos. Printed denim is still on trend, but not so big. It's going to die out. It's more about the textures and the treatments, I think. There's also a purist element coming in as well, where people do not, you have the one end of like really extreme that I was talking about, then you've got the purest end where there's hardly any fuss about it, and it's very pure and clean and simple and downplayed.
On the more directional end, what sort of colours are you thinking? Is it still the classic, black and blue, or how much colour denim is sort of out there?
Well, I mean, it's kind of anything goes. There's really, of course, there's been a massive thing with bright colors, which is so much fun. There's plum colors in at the moment. There's metallics in, so your black and blue will never go. Black is always the most slimming. I think we probably sell the most. Do we sell more black than blue? Yeah, we sell more black than blue because it's just eminently flattering, So those are classic basics that won't go. But if you're going to go into the trend, there's a Baroque feeling.
Yeah, and sort of moving on to sort of the wider buying strategy, like how's yours changed with the recession, for example? Because obviously you're a luxury high-end boutique. Like how's that influenced what you do?
With the recession, we take less risks in terms of high price point things, where we'd buy more of a quantity of a very high price point item. I'm talking 700 or more pounds retail item. We buy less. We buy more into the happy area that retail between $175 and $399. For us, that's like the really happy place where people can still go and buy something without taking out a mortgage. So that's changed a little bit. We've taken less risks with high price point stuff because we want to only have value for money. If a dress costs 700 pounds retail, it's got to look it. It's got to feel it. You've got to put on that dress and think, this is spectacular. I want this for 10 years. I can wear this to Christmas, New Year's, opera, black tie, blah, blah, blah. It's got to be multifunctional and something that you can re-accessorize, but still with a twist. So you can change it up, and that's really important to have multifunctional items there as well. We do believe in great quality, in items that feel fantastic on your skin, that are beautifully made and won't, deteriorate or degrade in any way. But and people are willing to pay for that, but they want good stuff, and that we've just had to be very focused with everything and very focused with our numbers.
So what does that mean for the sort of the mix of different categories in the store then? So you were saying before about you've gone less heavy into winter coats than you probably have previous seasons. Like, does it change the mix?
Yeah, no, that I don't know about any of you, but like the weather is psycho. So you cannot predict, like now it's summer, but all our winter stuff is in. So like nobody wants to buy the winter stuff unless they're like super fashionistas coming in to get the coat before it goes, which there are those women. But then the bulk of the footfall and the buyers are like, oh my God, I can't even think about trying on a pair of jeans. My clothes are sticking to me. So things need to be more trans-seasonal. As a buyer, we look at things that can work, or that can be layered, or that can go through to spring. So you just need to think more trans-seasonally.
And has that seen you buy more into pre-collections, crews, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we do 60% of our buy is pre-collections. We like to drip feed stock into the store all the time so it's fresh. It's great for the customer because we have loads of women that come every week, and it's great for us because it keeps us fresh and excited about, oh my God, have you seen that new thing, Which is, I was like, every time a box comes, it's like Christmas, and my staff has to chain my hands behind my back because I'm the first one ripping it open, That's a joy. That's the best part.
And I think that's...
and the selling of it.
Yeah.
And making people happy, I mean, the best thing is when people come up to me in a restaurant or in the street or whatever and say, oh my God, I bought this dress at your store. I paid 400 pounds. I know it was a lot, but I've worn it so many times and it's given me such joy and I appreciate it so much. And I've worn it to this and that and my daughter's wedding and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, thank you. That's what it's for. And then that's how you make a repeat customer and people come back and they're just so appreciative.
And it feels like there's some sort of a craft of not shopkeeping, but there is that kind of giving the customer satisfaction, giving them the customer service at the time. Yeah. And how does that influence like how you do your VM? Like, what techniques do you employ in particular to make that in-store experience as good as it can be?
Well, I used to do all the visual merchandising myself and all the windows, but I don't have time to do it anymore, so I've got a great girl who's a shop manager that does it. She's got a great eye. The windows are really important because they need to catch your eye from the street. So it's important to do color because it catches your eye, or some great prop, themed, Olympic theme window, Jubilee theme, stuff like that. That's always nice to do. Be really creative. I use it as a theater so that you can be really out there. Like our Fashion Week window is going to be, I found this fabulous artist that makes masks of animals, like really kind of slightly scary. So it's going to be like woodland creatures, scary animal mask. So you can be out there and it's fun. The visual merchandising in the store needs to be done on a very regular basis, once a week at least, always rearranging stuff. We use color to set the template, so we'll do like chocolates and cinnamons and grays and put similar things that have the same sort of print and color together, and then a bright rail, but everything has to look like a candy store. And many times people come in your store and they will miss things. There's lots of good stuff. And when you re-merchandise it, you give a fresh life to the items that are missed. There's also going to be dead places in your store, which people don't, there's a dead rail, like an area which is not conducive. So it's important to get your lighting right and to light things up like a stage. And to remember, like when we first opened Start, it was like a fairground. We had everything from flock wallpaper to dentist chair to like an operating table, mirrors everywhere. It was crazy. The downstairs was made to look like a haunted mansion. How could the clothes get any breathing space? It was fun to go in there, but we've now come to realize that the clothes are the stars, not the environment. We make the environment with our energy and our service and our attitude. But so we've like kind of whitewashed everything and made it like an art gallery so the clothes stand out. And therefore, because that's why you're there, is to see the beauty of what we've bought. Because I do think that buying and merchandising is an art form. It really is. It's selling, it's a business, but you need to think about it as styling, as on a big scale.
So tell us a story about that particular jacket you were talking about.
Oh yeah,
before.
Ian loves this story. So there's also something weird. I'm sure you've all experienced this. I call it collective consciousness. One time, and this is one example, it happens all the time. In the men's store, we had a Comme des Garçons jacket. Nobody looked at it for 3 months. It just sat there and sat there. It was really expensive, and we thought, oh my God, we're never going to sell this fucker. You just look at it, you're like, oh my God. You just look at it, you went, anyway, we re-merchandise it. A man comes in, he tries it on. I love it, he says. He buys it, he walks out. We replace the jacket. The next man that comes in goes straight to that same jacket, tries it on. I love it, buys it. Replace it. A third man comes in and buys the jacket, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And you see this, I see it time and time again with items when they're re-merchandised. They seem to have a life. Or sometimes I went up to this tunic the other day, and I said, oh my God, I haven't seen this before. I love it. And literally the next person that came in the store picked up that tunic. It was like almost like I imbued it with love. It had like love vibrating. I don't know why this works, but just watch for it. And re-merchandising helps give it life.
So is the Brix love touch, for want of a better phrase, something that you bring to your TV work?
Yeah, I try and only do jobs that I love, although TV's a different kettle of fish.
So how did the GOC program in particular, GOC's Fashion Fix, come about?
Well, what happened was I had been doing, before GOC's Fashion Fix, I had been doing bits and pieces on telly. And I had a series on Animal Planet called Top Dog, which I had 2 of my dogs with me on that, and it was like X Factor for dogs. And because I would be interviewed all the time in the store about fashion, producers started to say, wow, she's really good on TV, she can really talk, blah, blah, blah. And I kept getting put on taster tapes for different series. And one of them was GOC's Fashion Fix. I did so many of these, I don't even remember what they were. And I guess 6 months after they put me on this tape, I got a phone call saying, we want you to come on this show as a buyer. So in the first series, Alexa was the co-presenter, and me, Marigay from Harrods, the girl that was the buyer from Selfridges, and Erin, who used to be the buyer for Browns, were the buyers. And so we went against Gawk, and it was really weird because, they would just give us a theme, and we'd have to pull from our own store, and it was just really weird. It was disjointed and very difficult, and the buyers never won one episode in the whole thing because they really rigged it so that he would win on the first series. The second series, Alexa went off to New York, and they hired me as the co-presenter. So then I got really stuck in, and I understood what was going on, and I pulled a lot of things from my store, but I called and pulled from everywhere. And there might be some of you out there that have lent to me for that show, and I am grateful and thank you. And then there was a third series and a fourth series, and by the end of the fourth series, I tied him, which I think is a personal triumph. And then it finished, and he's gone on to do cooking, and I've gone on to do, what did I do? I did Angela and Friends. I did This Morning for 10 months, the Fashion on That Live. And now I've got my own series coming out on TLC Discovery around the world. It's a global series called Ultimate Shopper. And it's kind of like Project Catwalk crossed with MasterChef crossed with Supermarket Sweep for shopping. So it's good. It's juicy.
It sounds really good.
Yeah.
And so with the telly sort of side of it seems like a bit of a departure from the kind of hardcore buying, but you were saying before that it was always been kind of there as part of your life.
Well, I mean, basically I was born to be a performer. I was doing that from childhood. I was in a band. That is my natural state. The shops, it was like necessity is the mother of invention. It was a strange path that actually led me to what I thought my life purpose was. But the shops gave me a wonderful foundation, and a whole new skill set. And it was that skill set that got me to where I wanted to go on telly. So it all worked hand in hand. I just followed my passion the whole way through. In the beginning, when we opened Start, Philip and I worked together alone 7 days a week. For 3 years with no staff. We would make buying appointments at 8 in the morning and get back to open the shop at 10. In the very beginning, we had no till. We had a drawer. It was hard grafting. And I learned a skill. I learned how to sell. And it kind of gave me a whole new life. So I'm so grateful for that. And I love it, and I still work in the store as well. So, I'm there mostly every single Saturday, and when I'm not filming, I'm there during the week. Our offices are downstairs. We have an online shop, which we've been developing for the last 5 years, so that's a big area of growth for us. We've got Mr. Start, the tailoring brand, which is, I cannot really take credit, except to be the doting wife behind the scenes, because that's all his doing. But we have an embryonic line called Mr. Start for Women, which is men's tailoring for women, which you'll see coming soon. I'm not allowed to tell too much about it, but just heads up. So that's exciting. So we'll be wholesaling that as well. And so it's just really weird how life takes you on twists and turns. So I just want to tell you as a motivational speaker now to just follow your passion. And you do not know where it's going to lead or how the road is going to fork, but eventually, if you're doing what you love, you'll get to where you want to go, and you'll gain a lot on the way.
Brilliant. Right. Thank you very much, Brix. I'm going to open to the floor now. If you'd like to ask a question, stick your hand up, and I'll shout loudly because there's lots of music and stuff. Anyone?
She wants to ask. Where's your shop? Oh, you're stylists. Right, so these ladies just started their own business as stylists. How many months ago? And they're in the same thing, like that is their life, that is it. I mean, we could not, no exercise, no parties, no food. Oh, yeah. Coffee's good, and you both look good. I stopped and ate, and now look at me.
Sorry, question over here.
Okay. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh.
So I have to come over here. A, I'm deaf from being in a band, and B, there's like so much back. Oh. Oh, you know what? That is the key to everything. This woman was saying that she loves my passion, and that when I pick up something, and I love it, it oozes out, and that is the key. Do what you love, and do not, if any of you are unhappy doing something, don't do it. Take the risk and move away, because, yes, you're next. Thank you. I have never trained as a personal stylist, but just from working in the shop, I became able to put things together. And then, I don't know why, it's like an art form, it's like a collage. I have a photographic memory for color, which is something I didn't know before I started, which made me be able to merchandise brilliantly, because I could take this color pink, and then I could just, and take this off, and then 3 months later match the color from my brain to that. So it was really easy. So for that, I think I have a gift in terms of like visual merchandising and styling. But I learned a lot from Fashion Fix. I learned a lot from Gawk. I have to say, much as it kills me to say it, but I learned a lot about, he's a master of the silhouette, and that is something I'm great with, like color and texture and pattern, but he's great with the silhouette and with working with body shapes. And so, no, I haven't trained, but it was like I was thrust into a big fat vat of boiling oil and had to do it. You're welcome.
Any more questions? Here.
In what way? In what capacity? What are you doing? Right, I think at first.
Sorry, Brix. The question was how to get your name out there more in the market.
Yeah, the question was, she's a stylist, and how do you get your name out there and make a name for yourself as a stylist? And it's really tough because there are so many great stylists out there. I have a girl that worked for me called Saran Woodcroft, and she was amazing visual merchandiser in the store. And she left me and went to work for Francesca Burns at Vogue as her assistant stylist. And what will happen there is, Saran is so great, has such a great eye, she'll start getting things on her own, and she'll branch off. So I say, if there's another stylist that you love, piggyback on them, learn from them, do a great job, make yourself indispensable to them, and people will see your talent and start hiring you for other things. And slowly but surely, you'll get your name out there. And there's a whole different skill set to doing editorial work, to doing television styling, to doing real life human styling on real people. It's really different. So it's really interesting. So there's a lot of skill sets to learn. But that's what I would say.
A question here.
Yeah.
Would it be best to just go hands-on?
Yeah.
Take like a short course?
Okay. Right, okay. So this woman is asking an amazing question, which is about education. Is it important, if you want to be a fashion buyer, to go to school, take a short course, stuff like that? Now, everybody's different. I left college, I went to 1 year, and then I joined the fall. So I do not have a college degree, but I followed my passion and I landed on my feet. However, if you feel that you need extra confidence, and you just want to know the parameters, of what you're doing, I don't think it hurts to take a course if you're interested in it. I really don't. I think education is an important thing. It's like food. If you feel like you need to eat, And so otherwise, if you feel like, I felt like I could be a musician without being taught, and I could, because it was sheer belief and gut instinct. But I wouldn't recommend that to everybody. That was just me. So you need to, if you feel like you'd be more secure by getting a little bit of a foundation, then do it. It just gives you more power in the end. It gives you more confidence if that's what you need. But it's not necessary.
If you had your time again, would you think about doing a course? Because I imagine it was quite a kind of steep learning curve when you first started.
Well, I might consider doing courses on certain things, but I'm not one of these people that can sit and listen to other people talk about stuff. I just want to go out and do it. And I feel like, for me personally, actually, learning and making mistakes is the best education you can to get your hands on it. I mean, what good am I doing sitting behind a desk listening to somebody else tell their experience? I want the experience for good, for bad. And you learn faster, and you just get it. You just get it. But that's me. Some people are different, so I wouldn't tell anybody what to do. I would say you follow your gut instinct. You'll know what's right.
Sure. Any more questions?
Yay.
One here. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And I have taken on 4 new graduating designers
Yep.
who are making a collection for my shop to help get them out there. What is my best way of promoting them apart from selling their stuff in my own shop?
Okay, so she's taken on 4 young designers in Northern Ireland, and they're making collections for her shop. And the best way to do that is to send it to get it into press and say, this is exclusive to you, it's a young designer, or also to work with the British Fashion Council for like London Fashion Weeks, for the young designers, get them in there, get them on the stage, just put them out there. But I think like press and working with the resources that we have here is the best way. Is that good? Okay.
Any more? No?
Okay.
Okay, well.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, let's give Brix a big hand. Thank you, Brix.
You're
very entertaining
welcome.
and
Good.
informative. One last thing before we go. If any of you would like to read or look on the internet about more interviews with big people in the fashion industry, I can highly recommend subscribing to Drapers. And if you do want to, the stand is right at the other end, just by the exit. So thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have fun at Pure.